Morning. How are you? You good? Excellent. Well, today is the 8th of December 2025, I think. Yeah. Got the date right for once. Makes a change for me. And I want to talk to you today about how much Mounjaro costs. Yeah. Lots of you have probably thought, well, I'd like to think about doing Mounjaro, but I don't know how much it would be. Well, I'm going to tell you, I've been on Mounjaro now for 23 weeks. And I'd like to give you the breakdown of what it will cost you for the first 24 weeks if you stick by the pharmacy's rules and how they do things. And I'm also going to talk to you, and I'll also talk to you about the way I take a Mounjaro, which, if you follow the way I did, which I'm not recommending you do, but it will save you hundreds of pounds, literally hundreds of pounds. I can only talk to you about the companies that I've used to supply my Mounjaro. From the beginning, I used MedExpress, and then I used Asda further along the line, and then back to MedExpress, depending. You can switch companies as much as you like. There's no sort of thing that says you have to stay with this company. You stick to the one that works best for you, that supplies you the stuff that you want on time and at the price that you like. Now, I picked out MedExpress, the first one, basically because somebody gave me a referral code, which saved me £40 off of buying the first pen. So that meant that my first pen was, I think, £110 at the time, which is expensive. But prices have now gone up. Now, the same pen now from MedExpress is £180 for a 2.5 milligram pen. So if you use my referral code, which is in the bottom in the comments or the description down there, if you look down there, you'll find it. That will save you £40 and it gives me £40 as well. Yeah, so that's only if you've never used MedExpress before. So have a look down there. If you want to try MedExpress, they're really good. They actually deliver pretty much the next day from your order, and it's delivered in a bag or a box, a bag with a box inside the bag, which is like packed in ice, delivered by, I think mine comes from Royal Mail, and it's on like a 24-hour delivery. So you get it the very next day, 9 times out of 10, all packed in ice. So it's all very safe. It stays cool like it's meant to be, as if it's been in the fridge. So that's really good. It's the next day. And that will save you £40 if you want to use that code. It's up to you, entirely up to you. It's down there in my description. So that's your first pen. That's your 2.5 milligram pen, which you'll get from the pharmacy company. And the way that works is each week on a selected day, whichever day you choose, you don't have to choose Monday or Tuesday. It'll be whatever day you like. I prefer Sundays because that suits me. But any day you want, there's no rule about that. You know, if you want to do it Tuesday afternoon, do it Tuesday afternoon. If you want to do it Thursday night, do it Thursday night. Up to you. But the idea is that you stick to a time, or you pick a time which you can do the same time each week, just to build up a consistency with your injections and how you use things. So that first injection, you'll take that injection, which, by the way, you don't feel. There is another video I've got, which I'll leave a link at the bottom for, down here, which shows me actually taking the jab, so you can see how painless it is. Bear in mind that I'm a complete wuss and it frightens me. You know, I was always scared of needles, and I don't like the idea of digging one in me now, even though I've done it probably 40 times now. So you get your first pen, and that pen will last you 4 weeks. The pen will look something like this. This is actually my wife's pen, because we're both taking Mounjaro. It'll be a 2.5 milligram pen, and basically you have a little clicker on the end there, and you'll just turn that out to 60 clicks and put your needle on the top and inject yourself. Yeah, so you'll get one of those, and that will last you 4 weeks. Then in 4 weeks after that, you'll then move on to the next level, which will be a 5 milligram pen. And then 4 weeks after that, 7.5 milligram pen, 4 weeks again, 10 milligram, another 4 weeks, 12.5 milligram, another 4 weeks, which is take us up to 24 weeks, and you'll be on the 15 milligram pen. Now, that all sounds very simple, and it is, to be honest with you. It's a very simple and great way of doing things if that's what you want to do. Now, what you need to bear in mind is the price of the pens actually go up depending on what milligram dosage it is. This only applies to the UK. I'm not sure about the rest of Europe and the rest of the world. Although I do know that in the USA, it doesn't matter what size pen you're buying, it's always the same price, whether it's a 2.5 or a 15 milligram. Very different in the UK. I don't know if that's because we pay for them ourselves 9 times out of 10. I don't know. There's no insurance companies here. We do have obviously the NHS if you're lucky enough to get on that. If you're, if you're not well, or well, it's not lucky if you're not well. That didn't sound right. If you meet the criteria for the NHS and you can actually get the drug on the NHS, then obviously the rest of this video won't apply to you. You'll just follow the prescribed things because you're not paying for it. It doesn't matter. But for the majority of people in the UK, we pay for our pens, and there is a cost to them, going from, like I said, £180 for the cheapest one up to £310 for the 15 milligram pen. Now, up here in the top corner, I'll put a chart there which gives you the breakdown of the prices of the MedExpress pens. Obviously, if you go to other suppliers, they might be slightly different. Not a lot of difference, I don't think, between one and another, but there will be a difference. And as you can see there from my chart, I've got there a list of the pens from 180 down to £310, and how much that will actually cost you if you did it the pharmacy way. That will cost you for the first 24 weeks £1,519, which is a lot of money. And if you actually average out there, which I've got there at the bottom of the chart just here, you'll see that yes, it's cost you £1,519 for the 24 weeks, and the actual average weekly cost is £63.29, which is a lot of money. Yeah, it's a lot of money, but it's for your health. So it may be the way you want to go through things and the way you want to do things. So I completely understand if that's the way you want to do it. 100% understand, and that's perfectly good. Right, what I want to tell you about now is how I did things, which is slightly different to the way the company wanted me to do things, but it's a way that worked for me. From day one, I ordered the drug just as normal. Got in touch with MedExpress, did all the forms that you had to fill in, which you fill in online, where it sort of checks your like your BMI, your weight, your height. They ask you for photographs of yourself, which you send in with your application when you first start. You also have to pay for your Mounjaro as soon as you actually apply for the drug, before it's actually delivered. So before they say yes, you can have it, you have to pay for it, which I think is a bit naughty. Yeah, it'd be nicer if they said, okay, yes, you've passed all the criteria. Here's the invoice. Now pay this, and we'll send you your Mounjaro. But they don't work that way. They want your money first, which in this day and age, perhaps that's the way things are. I don't know, but it was a bit of a shock for me. But that was that. Anyway, after my order, the next day my delivery came through, which was my 2.5 milligram pen. And that was the beginning of a journey for me. I started that day. When I took my first injection, that very first day, I was 17 stone 12 and very uncomfortable in my life. That's 250 pounds and 113 kilos. That's quite a lot of weight, and that's the reason I actually took the drug, because I was worried about my health, really. Small things like walking upstairs was a real struggle sometimes, just to do that. Well, not a struggle, but I'd feel the pain in my knees after just coming upstairs, which for a man of 57, which is my age, that shouldn't be the case, should it? Or should it? I don't know. But maybe all 57-year-olds are like that, but I knew that I didn't want to live like that, so I had to do something about it. I tried enough diets, and I thought, well, we'll try Mounjaro, and this is where we are. I'm going off on a tangent. So anyway, the next day, my pen arrived from MedExpress, which was great. I dithered about with it pretty much 3 or 4 hours before I decided, yeah, okay, I'm going to do this, because it's a scary thing, injecting yourself. For that first time, you think, oh, I don't know if I can do it. And eventually, after a lot of to-ing and fro-in, I actually got my lovely wife Rose to inject me, which she said she didn't enjoy doing, but I think she did. When I looked in her eyes, she had that glint, or something like that. So I knew she was enjoying pushing the needle in. And that was it. That was the start of my journey. So with that pen, every week from then onwards. Every Sunday, which is the day I chose, Sunday evening, I chose to do my injection for the next 4 weeks. After week number 3, I got back in touch with MedExpress and ordered my next pen. I wanted to order a 2.5 milligram pen because that was working well for me. You know, I'd lost plenty of weight on that first pen. The first 3 weeks that I'd taken already, I'd lost a £7 first week, a £6 second week, and another £3 on the third week. And I thought, well, £16 in 3 weeks, that's fantastic. And I felt like it was going to be going well again. And I was happy with that. So that was going to be my plan of action. But I read up a few things online about something called split dosing, whereas you have a slightly higher milligram pen than what you're actually taking, but don't take the whole pen. And I'd also in this time read up about something called the golden dose, excuse me, itchy nose, which is the last bit of juice you've got left in your pen after your 4 weeks. And I thought, you know what, that bit of juice is there, and that's cost me £45 sitting in that pen. I don't want to waste it. I'm going to see if I can do what these other people have done. So I ordered myself some syringes, which are these ones up here. And I got those from the company which is listed in the bottom. They're a medical company. I didn't get them from Amazon. Well, let me just go back a bit. The first thing I did was I ordered some syringes from Amazon, which was cheap and cheerful. And I thought, yeah, these are great. And I think I got 20 of these syringes for about £10. I thought, excellent. But only after I'd ordered them and they'd been delivered, I started doing a bit more reading on them. And it turns out they're not medical grade syringes. They were just syringes for use in a laboratory, or more often for animals. Now, I've only got 2 legs, so I didn't class myself as an animal, even though sometimes I have been called an animal, but that was by people that didn't like me, so I ignore that. So I then went on to order these other syringes, which I got from a medical company. Again, those are listed down in the description at the bottom of this video, so if you want to order some yourself, you can. I got my first syringe, drew out the last bit of Mounjaro and injected myself with that for week number 5. So in effect, that first pen, which I bought, the 2.5 milligram pen, had lasted me 5 weeks rather than the manufacturer's 4. So I'd already saved money apart from buying 2 lots of syringes, but I forget that, you know, I'll find someone else to inject with those that's not important. So that was stage 1. And at the same time, I ordered my next pen, which is a 5 milligram pen. Now, when this 5 milligram pen came, I had no intention of going up to the 5 milligrams. And in fact, I spent the next 4 weeks just taking 2.5 milligrams from that pen. So that pen had already lasted me the 4 weeks worth that the company had expected it to last. But I still had another 4 weeks worth of doses in there, because by stretching out that 5 milligram pen, you actually can make it last for 5 milligrams. So it'd be 4 weeks of standard times 2, because you're using it twice as much. So that's 8 weeks plus 2 golden doses in there, one at 2.5 and another one at 2.5. So you actually can get 10 weeks from that one pen. But that's not the way things worked out for me. I did the first 4 weeks on 2.5, and I thought, you know what, I could do with going up a dose now, because I was starting to feel the end of my sort of suppression from the 2.5 milligrams, and I was getting hungry, and I just thought it was time, basically. You know, in my mind, I thought, yep, okay, my body's telling me now, go up to the next dose. So the next Sunday came around, and I thought, okay, I'm going to now take 5 milligrams from this pen. I injected myself with it on the Sunday, and it didn't go as well as I expected it to. You know, it was a big shock to my system. The next day I was dizzy and awful headaches, and just a combination. It cleared my constipation, which I'd suffered from before, but gave me terrible diarrhea. But the dizziness thing was the thing that I couldn't cope with. And I thought, no, 5 milligrams is too much for me in one go. I won't be doing that again. So after about 2 or 3 days, that all went away and it went back to how I was before. But come the next week, the next Sunday, I went back to 2.5 milligrams again, because what I decided to do was take 5 milligrams a week, but take 2.5 on the first day, and 3.5 days later, take another 2.5. So in effect, I was taking 5 milligrams a week, but split dosing. Yeah, so that one pen was split between the two. And I carried on doing that pretty much right the way through my journey up to week 23. So I've only ever had 2.5 milligrams at a time, 3.5 days apart. And that's given me everything I want from Mounjaro as far as diet's concerned. And losing weight, it's been fantastic for me. I've got to the stage I am now. I've lost 52 pounds, I think it is now. Is it 52? No, sorry, 49 pounds. 49 pounds. I'm now down to 14 stone 2, or 14 stone 1 with the wind behind me. So, and I'm happy with that. I don't want to lose any more weight now. I'm starting to go into the maintenance. But just going back just a little bit, when my 5 milligram pen was coming to an end, I ordered 2 pens from Asda, which was a 7.5 and a 10 milligram pen. This was all happening when the price increase was going on. So I ordered those 2, and I also ordered a 10 milligram and a 12.5 milligram pen the week after from Asda's, because Asda's just, they seem to let you order whatever you want. It's a quicker way of doing it. MedExpress wasn't so happy with that, so I switched over to Asda. The price was slightly cheaper actually with Asda than what it was in MedExpress, but there is no referral codes with Asda. You pay what the price is. So basically what I've done now is I've used now my 7.5 and 10 milligram pen. So I've actually used 4 pens, has lasted me the whole 24 weeks. Yeah. And when I actually work out how much that's cost me, total cost for Mounjaro for my 24 weeks is £769. I'll put a little box up here so you can see the pens I've actually bought and how much it cost. That was for them. But I had some other costs as well. Because of the way I was using Mounjaro now, the number of needles they send you with your pen wasn't enough for me. So I had to buy another box of those needles, which is this box here. Now they cost me, I think it was £6 from the local pharmacy. You can buy them from Asda's as well, which I'll put a link in the bottom, but I don't recommend you use those because they're far more expensive. If you get them from Asda's, they're about 20 odd pounds, you know. So the best thing you can do is actually go to your local chemist and buy a box of these. It's the ones here. I've got a 31G, I think it is 31G and 4mm long. These ones just here. So get those instead. From Amazon, what I did buy was these things, which is these alcohol wipes. It's 100 wipes in there. Again, next to nothing in price. I'll leave a link for those in the bottom because they are worth getting from Asda's. Because when you actually get your pens and stuff from your suppliers, you won't get enough if you're doing split dosing. So you do need to buy more. Now, it seems excessive buying 100 at a time, and I've still got probably 80 of those extra needles left. But it was cheaper to do it that way than try and buy 5 or 10 at a time and then not know how many you'd need. You know, so for me, it was great. And the fact my lovely wife Rose is also taking Mounjaro and split dosing, she's using them as well now, so they will get used eventually, probably. But if not, I'm not worried about that at the end of it. It's worked out really well for me. So doing what I did is great for people doing the split dosing, but it's not great for everybody. The people it's really good for is people like me now. Now I'm sort of going into maintenance. I've still got my 10 milligram pen that I'm using at the moment, but that pen now will last me a lot longer because as of this week, I'm now taking 2.5 milligrams every 6 days. So that pen will last me maybe 12 weeks, if not longer. Not sure, but it's lasted me a long time. I don't intend on buying any more pens for a while. It's also good for people if you decide that the dose you've just taken is too strong, like it was for me, where I took the 5 milligrams and it knocked me for 6. You might think, no, you know what, I'm not taking 5 milligrams again. The next week I'm going to take this and do what I did, 2.5 and 2.5, or you might choose to do 3.75 every 5 days if that works for you. You've got to find the right dosage that works for you. But I think the most important thing is to have a stable dose rather than have a dose 1 week of 1.25, the next week of 5, and then back down to 3.75. I've kept mine level at 2.5 right the way through, and that keeps like a level dosage of Mounjaro in my body and kept me stable, I think. If I'd have taken it randomly of 1.5 and a 3.5 each week, I don't know if that would have worked for me. Tell me your experiences. Has it worked for you? Is that something that you found has been successful for you by split dosing and taking it at those sort of levels? I've got no experience of that, only my own experience. But I'd say it's worked well for me. If you're at the very beginning of Mounjaro, then I'd say don't split your doses then. Take it as you're meant to, 2.5 milligrams to start with, and see how it goes for you. You may find that 2.5 milligrams after 4 weeks is not enough. You're not feeling that suppression, and you're not losing the weight you're expecting, and you think you need more. Obviously, if that's the case, then follow the pharmacy's rules. Yeah, I'm just little disclaimer here. I'm not a doctor. I am Paul, the London cab driver. All I'm telling you here is how things have worked for me, and I really hope it's going to work for you in the same way, or in a way where it can save you some money, because Mounjaro is so expensive. All I can recommend is that you don't waste any dosage. So if you do take your 4 weeks worth and you've still got some left in that pen, then I'd say use that golden dose if you can, if you feel happy doing it. If you are taking this through the NHS, then don't do that. If you're in the States, you have a different type of pen to us, where yours is a single-use pen, sort of jab yourself and you throw it away, so you don't have this choice. But I hope you find something that does work for you over there in the States, because we all want to be healthy. That's why we're doing this, isn't it? So we can be healthy and carry on and live our lives. Well, that's about all I'm going to say to you this week. If this video has helped you at all and you think you might, start with Mounjaro, I've got lots of other videos on my channel, which are listed over here. There's one I recommend. And also, if you'd like to sort of click the like button, that really helps. It helps to push my video out to other people. And obviously, if you like me at all, click subscribe. Before you click subscribe, looking at me in this one video, have a look at some of my others. You might think, nah, I don't like him, he's not worth it. I don't want you to subscribe now, then in about 2 weeks' time unsubscribe because you think, nah, gone off that bloke. Have a look at my older stuff, see if I'm the sort of person you want to listen to. I have now got quite a lot of knowledge, I feel, about Mounjaro and how it works, and I'm very happy to share this with everybody. I actually enjoy telling people what I've done and how things have worked for me, and hopefully it works for them. But most important thing is to remember this. This Mounjaro journey is your Mounjaro journey. It's not mine. It's not Joe's down the road, and it's not Susie up the other end of the road. It's your journey, and it's all about how you feel taking Mounjaro. Do it the way you want to do it. Don't be bullied by a company saying this, you must do this or you must do that. Do it your way and stay safe. Okay. Take care, everyone. Bye now.